Welcome back, dreamers. In this episode, we're going to take you through our backyard. We're going to show you how you can make some fertiliser to suit your needs, and then we're going to lay some down and give it a little bit of love. Let's get into it. So this backyard, as we've said before, when we first moved in, it was in pretty poor shape. It was nearly all dirt, heap of weeds and everything. So we've worked really hard, fertilising, watering, mowing to try and get it back to what it is now. It's not perfect by a long shot, but we continue to work on it, and we'll get into another part of that today. We haven't seeded or turfed this grass. It's just the grass that was here when we moved in. So it's a mixture of cooch, there's some buffalo in here, a little bit of zoysia as well. Worth mentioning that about 2 months ago, I did a little bit of a renovation on this lawn heading into winter. So we completely scalped it back to only a couple of mil long, laid some fertiliser down, a little bit of topsoil in places. So we'll show you some of that now. So as we come over this way, you can see that most of the lawn is cooch. But there's patches like we just walked over there, over here. Definitely some large patches of buffalo in there. You can see where we've topsoiled, and you can see that the grass is definitely starting to creep and starting to fill in where we've topsoiled, which is great to see. As we continue over here, some more patches of buffalo. Different type of grass here, either a zoysia or a kikuyu type lawn as well. As we come over this way, most of this is cooch over here. This section was the first little square that we did the renovation on. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago now that I put a PGR down here on the lawn. Now PGR, for those who don't know, is a plant growth regulator. What that does is it regulates the growth of the plant so it doesn't grow so much upwards, it starts pushing out more sideways. So it pushes the stolons closer together, keeps it lower to the ground, and gives you that much thicker knitted lawn. You can see here in some of the patches which are still struggling, but you can see where it's really starting to tighten up and knit up through here. So once we come into spring, this is going to look lots better, and it's going to start to fill in all of these areas. Now some of these areas over here are naturally always going to struggle. They've got some big gum trees here near them, so which are taking a lot of the moisture out of the soil. So we do have pop-up sprinklers in this backyard, and we use them reasonably often. But there are some patches that do still struggle. This patch here in particular is really solid. Don't know if you can hear that on the camera, but that is really solid there. So that's something that we need to work on, especially once we come into spring. Aerate the lawn, allow it to get some air and some fertiliser and water down to those roots and try and soften up that soil. You can see other sections, you can see it just out through here, a little bit of discoloration. So that's a little bit of water, but also tells me that the lawn it's pretty hungry. So naturally with lawns, and it's like anything else, is that it needs water and that hydrates it, but it also needs food. So that's what the fertiliser does for our lawn to keep it nice and healthy. So the fertiliser is what we're going to do today. Now there's normally 2 different ways to do fertiliser. One is a granular fertiliser, which is normally a slow release, gets spread out over the lawn. And the other fertiliser is a liquid fertiliser. Now out on our property we've got 2 ways of doing that. One, we either mix it up in a knapsack and we spray it directly onto the lawn. But as I said before, I've also got the pop-up sprinklers. So I have a Venturi set up down there, which is a fertiliser Venturi where you mix it in a bucket, and as the water is coming out of the pump, it sucks the fertiliser in and puts it on the lawn. So whatever parts of either the lawn or the garden that we have open, that fertiliser is just going to go onto those. Now speaking of fertiliser, I've always found it hard to try and find the right fertiliser for the right situation. So whether it's lawn, whether it's garden, how much nitrogen, how much potassium, how much phosphorus, and get it in the right amounts that you want to put on. So what I've done is I've developed a spreadsheet, which I'm going to share with you guys shortly, which basically shows you how to calculate your NPK and other trace elements as well, and how you can build your own fertiliser to then make it specific for your needs. And once I show you how this calculator works, I'm quite happy to share this with people. So drop a comment down here and let me know if you'd like to see that, and I can definitely send it out to you. Okay, so I'll show you this spreadsheet that I've developed. First section is the section where you're going to enter the percentage of the fertiliser that you got. So the percentage of the raw element that is within those fertilisers. So the urea that I've got, the nitrogen, is 46%. The phosphorus I've got is 9.1, and the potassium is 41.5. Got some other elements here as well, so depending if you've got some sulfur or iron fertilizer as well, then you can add those in. The next section is you're going to tell this calculator what you want your NPK to be. So in this instance I got 10, 1 and 5. You can change that, you can enter in the sulfur, the iron, anything else as well. The next part you're going to want to do is down here in the rate of the liquid. Most of the time, a liquid in the percentage that we're going to be making them in, you're going to want to use anywhere from about 200 to 400 mils per 100 square meters of lawn. So in this instance, we're going to go 200 mils. We're going to say that our lawn size is 600 square meters, which is telling us that we require at least 1.2 litres of water to start with. So we go up here and we put the 1.2 litres in, and then over here it's going to auto calculate and tell us how many grams of each of those fertilisers we need. So if we were to change this here, if we change the nitrogen back to 5% and change the potassium back to 3%, as we do that you can see the amounts changing. Same here again, if we wanted to make it 300 mils per 100 square meters of lawn, it'd then tell us we need 1.8 litres. So we come up here and put in 1.8 litres, and again it'll auto calculate the amount in grams that you need those elements in. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's make this fertilizer. So now that we've worked out what macronutrients we need, simple as, let's measure them out, get them in the knapsack. Now this is the sprayer that I'm using, and what I love about this is that it's electric. It's got a rechargeable battery in here which will go through about 6 knapsacks. So no more of that pumping and getting a sore arm. It's great. So it's worth noting that it is starting to really cool down now. It is getting towards the end of May, especially with most of the cooch here. It is pretty much nearly gone to sleep, nearly gone dormant for the winter. So this is more of like a maintenance dose to keep it healthy, being able to put up with any frost that we might get through winter. Keep it healthy as we come into spring, and then once in spring, that's when we'll see that big burst of life. We won't sort of see quite that at the moment. So we'll leave that sit on the leaf now, at least for the afternoon. We may put some water on it, if not this afternoon, but definitely tomorrow, just to keep the moisture in the soil. Like I said before, there's a couple little bits that are looking a little bit dry, so we'll keep the moisture up to it there, but trust me, it's gonna love that we just gave it that. So make sure you stick around, because coming up soon, we're gonna lay down our first beer. We're gonna take you through from grain to glass. We're gonna give the property a little bit of love. Might even be an adventure in there as well. So stay tuned, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I can't wait to see you next time on Billabong Views. In a lot of dirt, a lot of weeds. Previous owner had some dogs which really trampled this place down. No, don't say that. Oh, jeepers. So in a second I'll show you a little bit of this backyard, It's a mixture of different grasses, and actually we haven't seeded or turfed this backyard. We haven't seeded or turfed this backyard. It's just the grass that was here when we moved in. We haven't seeded or turfed this grass. As we've said before, when we first moved in, it's not perfect by a long shot, but we continue to work, and that's what we're going to